Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Retail Rewind. I'm your host, Audrey Moore. If you're new here, hello, welcome into the podcast. So before I get started with with today's interview, I just wanted to do a get to know me segment for part of this podcast today, as it would be interesting for everyone to know like who I am as the host and the story behind Retail Rewind. So, with that, let's get started. So, what was the main inspiration behind Retail Rewind? So, the podcast got me inspired from this subreddit called r slash Tales from Retail, as that subreddit is mainly about like the obvious tales from retail, as whether it be the good, the bad, or the crazy part of working in retail. But for Retail Rewind, it's about sharing some of the interesting or some of the kind of like it's a mix of good, bad, and a little bit of crazy and maybe wholesome parts of working retail. So with that, and the story behind Retail Rewind is that I have been working in retail, mainly pet retail, since May 2022, as I needed to have some structure within my life, and as I needed to start working somewhere, as retail is like the main job type to have to help with like as like a starting out point of the like everyone's origin story. And plus, like with working retail, you're bound to have like some mixed mesh scheduling that's complicated. So besides the weird scheduling, working in pet retail is rewarding whenever I get to help customers that may have concerns about their cat or dog. I have a good solid ground whenever it comes to basic cat and dog care. I do let the guests know that I only have basic animal care knowledge, and that if they have a medical related question, I advise them to ask their veterinarian, as I am not a licensed veterinarian. I am a retail employee, not a veterinarian, sadly. So, and another thing too is that with working retail, you're bound to have really interesting things to witness or encounter. I have two of said stories. One is that I was just like doing like I was just ringing up like just some items for a guest, and I noticed he had a little monkey on his shoulder. I think it was a capuchin monkey. I could be wrong. It was that or a spider monkey, or I'll provide a picture somewhere on the screen to provide like some to kind of like know what the monkey looked like, so y'all would have an idea. So like the monkey was just minding his own business, just like, and he was really, the little dude was really well behaved. And besides seeing a cute little capuchin monkey, I also saw a wolf dog hybrid. And if you know like what wolf hybrid dogs are, those things are massive. Like they're the size between of like a Great Dane and a Great Pyrenees. Like those things are they're huge. They're like massive, fluffy dogs. But you gotta know that wolf dog hybrids, they are like, it's a complicated thing with like wolf dog hybrids. Because like, I think you have to get a license to own a wolf dog hybrid. So besides like with the interesting parts of the story and the background of Retail Rewind, I just wanted to let y'all know, like, thanks for tuning in for tuning in about the Get to Know Me segment. And before I get started with today's interview, I just want to let y'all know that I will be taking in story request submissions from and I will provide the link down in the description below. Again, thanks for tuning in, y'all, and let's get on to the interview. There we are. So, one thing I wanted to ask, like before we start the interview, is like an icebreaker. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Um, any superpower. I think I'd want to teleport because I think it's just the most efficient superpower there is. Like, yes, you could fly and yes, you could go super fast, but if you're teleporting, you could be anywhere you want at any second.
Just like
And what? What's up?
I was about to say, and plus, like gas money is saved.
Yes. And if that's not what we're all worried about, I don't know what is.
True.
Yeah. Like you're saving our gas money. Um, I don't know how evil you want to be. Well, I'm a superhero, right? So I can't commit crimes. Never mind. I was gonna say, I was gonna say if you wanted to go a little evil, you wouldn't have to worry about food or money, but let's stick with super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing is that like, how did you start out working in retail?
Okay, so my it was my second job. My first job I was at a grocery store for like a week. I wasn't a huge fan of it. And then I got a job at a place called Hibbett Sports. It's like a sports retail store. And honestly, my parents just wanted me to have a job. My brother had worked there um, a few years before that, so I had an in with the manager. Um, and did the interview. It went well. She could tell that I was nervous talking to people just by how I was talking to her. But the thing is, my brother is very good at talking to people and very, very personable guy.
Like, I think we're still on the question about starting out in retail.
Yes. So yeah, my brother was very good, and so she took a chance on me, and so that's when I got the job.
All right. And the next question is, what was the most interesting thing that happened at your job in retail?
Mhm. There was a lot of interesting things. I think I'll give you like two or three. So
All right.
the first was a person had stolen money from us, like a worker, a retail worker. Yes, he came in like he had just been promoted to manager, and I don't know why he got promoted in the first place. I think that he had past experience, but he really wasn't doing that well at our store. Yeah, and then he comes in later at night and he shuts off the security cameras and then he takes the money. And we, yeah, and we eventually did catch him, but that was a crazy thing. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, that was crazy. And then nothing really else crazy, like nothing else crazy happened. It was just I liked the feeling of getting to know the community, like the people that kept coming back in, like the regulars. I really got to know them. Um, you know, I would have a family come in, and then they would always ask me for help. Like they would always ask for me specifically. So that was really cool. Um, but yeah, I think that's about it for like the craziness.
And how do you handle difficult customers and or the ridiculous demands from your job, like any other job there
Yeah.
is?
So the ridiculous demand, I think that there's ridiculous demands from any job, and you kind of you have to go with the flow. Um, if the demand, like, okay, so I've had a lot of jobs and I've had a lot of ridiculous demands. If the demands aren't putting you in harm's way, or if the manager is giving you, if it's not just busy work for the sake of busy, like obviously we have to go through, we all have to have the busy work, but if the manager is giving you all the work, no one else the work, that means that there's a problem. You can go up, you can report them or whatever you want to do. Um, but the but on the customer's end, you kind of just have to do it. Um, like so in that retail store specifically, you would have to go and get the shoes that they wanted in the back and come out. And I mean, I've gone back and forth to get the shoes like 15 times or more, and it's an insane amount of shoes. And that especially sucks whenever they don't buy anything. But you got to just roll with the punches. But difficult customers, I can't say I remember any difficult customers. The only I really didn't have any rude customers. The city that I worked in, there were a lot of nice people. Um, I did have a really rude phone call. Um, Someone cussed me out on the phone just for not having the right pair of shoes. So, and it's at that point where you have to kind of think to yourself, like, okay, this is a abnormal situation. Don't let it get to you. Like, that person's crazy. They have other stuff going on. You can't take it personally. And that's my advice to anyone in retail right now. Just don't take the rude customers personally, or else it'll just drag you down. And like, just don't let them beat you down, honestly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, most true. Because for me, like I've mentioned in like the previous episode from
Mm.
previous episode of my podcast, where I work in a pet store, and one thing I know with like dealing with difficult customers, like if they start like from my experience, if they start like calling either like the employee or the manager like a rude name, then they're like, we're sorry, we can't offer our services to you.
Okay. That's
And
good.
it's like, because like I remember this, like it was just one time, like this person
Mm.
wanted like to return something. He didn't have a receipt nor phone number with us, like because if you don't
Okay.
have a number with us, then you have to have a receipt as well. But he was like, want to use his bank statement. I'm like, this is gonna take hours, like to find the receipt that has the same exact like number
Yeah.
on your bank statement. And the guest was like, wanted to be like okay, you want like was talking to my manager who was helping me with this situation, was like you want to go outside and take this out, and like manager's like, I'm being smart, I don't want to fight, you have to leave the premises. I'm like
Dang.
I'm
He
like
was threatening him?
it was kind of like that, but it was like, I mean, we were, it was just like, okay, so okay, the guest like just left the premises.
Okay, good. Wow, though. That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's not your job. You're not a banker.
yeah, I'm like,
Like,
sir, this is a pet store.
yeah, we're not giving out loans.
Yeah, and in your experience, what's the most common question you are asked?
Um, that's a good question. I don't know. I think the most common question is like, um, do y'all have, okay, for me specifically, it was, do y'all have this size? And then if we didn't have the size of shoe that they needed, uh, I would, I was basically forced to ask them, but do you want to order it online? We can order it for you online right here. And then they would ask, how long does it take, like, for the package to come to their house? They were always so worried about that, because usually they would come in and they needed the shoe for like the day out, for like the next day, for like a football game or whatever. And they were really hoping that the shoe would come in a day. And I was like, no, we are not like the Amazon Prime. We cannot do that. Um, and then they wondered a lot about if things matched with each other, like if a shoe matched with a shirt. And I'm so bad at that stuff, especially back then. I couldn't figure out what colors matched, what colors didn't. Um, so that would always make me like very insecure. Yeah. But what about you? What was the most common question in the past?
One thing for certain is that like one common question I get asked is like, do you work here? And I'm like, I have like
Oh my
the
God.
t-shirt and the name tag. I'm like, yes, I work here.
I know.
Like, no,
That happened to me all the time.
I just wanted to say like, no, I'm just dressed up as a worker here, but I'm like, but nope, I choose like, yes, I work here.
Yes. No, that's so funny. The number one thing that got me through the day in another job I had, where that was the number one question I had, do I work here? The only thing that got me through the day was coming up with ideas to tell them. And so, because I would have to stock, like I was a stalker, so I was putting products on the shelves, and like 5 times a day, someone would ask me if I work here, and I'm doing this motion. I have a box in my hand and I'm putting stuff on the products and they're asking me if I work here. And I wanted to say that, no, I'm just stealing in reverse. I'm giving them products. I never did it. I never got to it, but that would have been great.
Yeah, and then also besides being asked if I work here, I'm also asked if I know like when does the store close and and do we have a veterinarian on hand right now?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like I'm like I just know about basic pet information. I
Yeah,
don't have a degree in veterinarian stuff. I'm sorry. You have to consult this with your veterinarian. I'm sorry.
that's so funny. No, and it because I get that at every job I go to. It's one of the most common questions like you is, what time do y'all close? But what I do whenever I wonder that is I look it up on the internet, what time they close. And it just always baffles me how many calls you get about that. And it's like, just go look it up online.
And it's especially so common around the holidays too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, even like we were
Mm.
sorry for interrupting, but I just want to say like
Oh, no,
I think it was an average of 10 or 15 calls that are about like what time do we close on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
okay. At a pet store? They should
Yeah.
just wait. Did you have to work on Christmas Eve?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Dang.
That was the first time I worked on like Christmas
Wow.
Eve.
Just give me. Okay, gotcha. Was it overtime? Did you get paid overtime?
No.
Dang. Okay. You just had to.
I was scheduled.
Okay. You were scheduled like
C'est la
yeah.
vie.
C'est la vie. I understand.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's all the questions I have wanted to ask, and I appreciate you for taking your time
Of course.
for the interview, dude.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was fun.
All right, no problems.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.
You
Bye.
too.